Hello, this is Dorothy Smith. Today I am going to do the third layout for Into the Wild, and this is from the Deluxe Scrapbooking Workshop, which is not the same as the Workshops Your Way. The Workshops Your Way are excuse me, easier to do than the Deluxe Workshop. So if you like a little bit more of a challenge and you want to learn some new techniques for scrapbooking, then you want to go with the Deluxe Workshop. You can do both, actually, which is what I'm going to do. So these are the colors, Fern, Mink, Charcoal, Peach, and Sapphire, that are with this particular kit. We've used some of these already. And I've taken all of the pieces and kind of sorted them to make sure I had everything I needed to put the layout together. And this is going to be kind of interesting because one page is just a regular 12 by 12 layout, and the second page is a pocket layout. So I get to show you how easy it is to do a pocket page. And if you wanted to, you could actually make a whole scrapbook of nothing but pocket pages, and it would go very quickly. So I am using a piece of linen for the background, and I'm going to start putting the border, the left-hand border, on. And the piece that you have to open up your Tombow first, silly girl. So the piece that shows up is a nice blue, there's sort of a wood grain in the background, which is a little hard to see, with the diamonds over it. And so this paper is just really a good boy paper, if you know what I mean. So for those of us moms who have a boy or more in the family, this is great paper for us. I mean, it's great for outdoors, but it's great for boys. So, I mean, they always have beautiful girl paper, right? And the boys are, yeah, it seems like there's fewer boy papers. So anyway, I really like this paper. I love that green plaid. Really like that green plaid. So the hardest thing about this particular page is there's a diamond configuration off to the right hand side, so you can see it there, and it's a matter of triangles and stacking triangles so they abut each other and make a diamond form. And so what I would do in retrospect, I would make a line that's about a half an inch over from the right hand edge, and I would try to keep the points of my diamonds on that edge, the half inch mark over from the edge. And I would also put a little bit more space than I'm putting in between the diamonds and triangles. So you want the diamonds to abut each other, but then when you're putting the hard to explain, when you're putting the paper next to that, like the peach triangle, I should have put a little bit more space. So I ended up with maybe about a half an inch or so of space at the bottom that was blank, and they have it going all the way to the bottom edge. I'm not exactly sure how you're supposed to figure out, how to do that. Maybe you could probably do it if you just laid it out to begin with and kind of figured, what was going to work. Or you could just put an itty-bitty amount of Tombow on the backside of the triangles and just reposition until you have it so it's going from top to bottom fully. So that would be one way of kind of figuring out exactly how much space to put in between in the pattern. So anyway, I do like this pattern. I mean, I have to tell you, I think I'll probably do this again just because I really like the way it looks. And I mean, it's pretty simple if you think about it. to make kind of an effective looking, kind of an eye-catching element of interest to your scrapbook page. So I'm going to speed this up a little bit. You can listen to a little bit of music just to make the page hurry along a little bit. So I'll catch you on the other side. Okay, so see how there's about a ½ an inch down there. Not that big of a deal. I shouldn't really worry about it too much. So this strip, the Into the Wild, is actually from the cut apart page that has the moose on it. So very simple, cut it out. The adventure here is one of the Cricut Design Space cuts. And I am going to be positive and say I'm not going to take this page apart like I did my other one. And I'm going to put permanent glue down. So this is a new Tombow product that we're carrying in the catalog. And a very fine point of liquid glue that's just easy to put down. And so I thought I'd try it out for this. And, this is not repositionable. I mean, once you can scooch it around a little bit beforehand while it's still wet, but then after that there's no scooching allowed. So I'm just kind of putting a little amount along each of the letters, and it's actually going to, so there it is, it's the multi liquid glue from Tombow. So it is actually going to cross over into the peach diamond like that. So that's what it's supposed to do. So, Adventure into the Wild. See, that's cute, right? And then we get a little star. That's also one of the Cricut design cuts. And they want you to put a little bow from using the silver embellishment thread there. So I was just going to use, because I know it'll dry clear, and then just hold the bow in place. But it's sticking to everything, including my finger. It's not doing what it's supposed to do. So I'm just going to glue it to the paper using the liquid glue. And then I'll just drop it with a tweezer on top of a little dot of glue. Because I wasn't successful. I probably have a little stickum on my fingers or something. There we go. Okay. Ta-da. Okay, now just leave it alone. Okay, so the picture that's going to go on here is going to be a 4x6. I mean, you can make them 3x4s if you want. You can do whatever you want. Now the one thing that I did was that charcoal background is actually cut with the lines going side to side rather than up and down, but I decided I wasn't going to worry about it too much. So it's actually going to overlap the green plaid just a little bit. So see, it would have been, the arrows and the lines would have been going in the same direction, which probably would have been more calming, but I decided it's not worth cutting a whole nother piece of paper since I have this already gone. I thought I was really paying attention to what I was doing, but apparently I thought I was and I wasn't. So there we go. I have to let these things go. Unfortunately, the arrows, they're going up and down all at the same time, so that one doesn't make any difference. But it's just getting centered onto the charcoal piece, and then I'll put a 4x6 placeholder over that. So there we go. That's going to go right over that. And if you have a really, you want a really special print, want one of your special pictures to go on here since it's kind of a solo. But, you can always use flip flaps and create kind of a waterfall and put more than one picture there. So you have to remember that we have 4x6 flip flaps. And you can, if you have, several pictures that you want on there, then by all means, pull out the flip flaps and use them because they're wonderful. They are wonderful, wonderful things. Okay, so this is on to the pocket page. And, this is a good thing to use with Picture My Life cards. They're perfect for this. That's what they're made for. And so we're going to have a few little elements to do some little stamping with or little fussing with. But I've already put the picture placement cards in place. And I'm pulling out the things that I've got to do stuff with. So when you flip over onto this last layout, so there's a picture, so you put a 4x6 and two 3x4s, and then there's a 3x3 that goes up on that little, so it's a 4x6 placeholder. It's a 4x6 pocket, but we're only putting a 3x3 picture on it because we've got some mountains that are going on there. And these were cut from the paper that had those set of 3 mountains at the bottom. And those really, really were cute, and they have us cut them out. So what you're going to do is, because the mountain down at the bottom, at the base of the mountain, is a straight line rather than it going all the way into an angle into the ground. It's just getting cut off. So that's going to get put right up against the left-hand edge of that 4x6 card that we cut out. So see that it's just a right angle at the bottom, and then we're lining up using the foam dots so it has a little bit of dimension. We're lining up the mountain along the bottom and along the cut edge, so they're just right up against the edge of the paper. So, and then there's a little bitty mountain that gets tucked behind the big mountain, and I'm just putting some smaller foam dots on it. So they're going to go behind that big mountain, and I'm tucking it because there's another right angle that's cut off of that mountain, and I'm tucking it behind the large mountain so you can't see that. So there, we have our own little mountain range. Cute, right? And then this arrow, actually I messed up. I kind of didn't catch it because, you know, I have failure of reading instructions. So there's a stamp in the stamp that comes with this kit. There's a stamp that actually matches this particular arrow shape, and it gives a wood look to the arrow when you stamp it. So I was supposed to stamp it in peach with that wood look arrow, and I'll show you that at the very end of the video when I realize that I didn't do anything. But what I will do is sponge the arrow so it still has some of the peach color to it. So I still get some of the, you know, little added color without having the detail of the wood to it. So I'm going to put I'm just trying to tie a knot in my silver thread. They want you to put the silver embellishing thread around the neck of the arrow. And so that's what I'm trying to do. But you know, if I don't have really long strings to work with, I have a heck of a time trying to make a knot. So I'm just going to cut off the loose ends and fray what's left so they stick out a little bit, and then I'm going to add a 3D dot, a foam dot, to the back of it. So it's going to pop up off the mountain. So there we go. There's our that little element. And there's that 3 1/8 by 3 1/8. You know, that's the one on the last layout. I was wondering why I had that gray card that was just a little bit bigger than 3 inches. Well, because it was supposed to go with this. Hello. Anywho, I cut another 3 1/8 by 3 1/8. Okay, so the next one we're going to do is kind of fun. Now, the last layout I didn't really, I had already stamped the chevron on there, and because I didn't want to do it again, I was saying this is the technique that was from the first one, now from the third one. So I take my sponge and I kind of rub it on the ink, and then I take it and I dab it over the stencil. And so when, you know, the same thing was done with the chevron pattern on the second layout, you know, with the same sponge and actually the same charcoal ink. So I'm making a very slight wood grain for this little card, just to give it some interest. And then they want you to stamp Go Wild, and that's one of the stamps from the stamp set. So there's my little wood grain, and the stamp we're going to use, so it's Go Wild, and right in the middle of the wild is a evergreen tree. So what I'm going to do here, this is called a masking technique. So the tree gets stamped in Fern and the letters get stamped in charcoal. So I'm taking a piece of washi tape and I am putting it over the tree, and then I'm cutting around, and I'll show you from the other side. I'm cutting around just to hide the tree completely, and I will cover the letters in charcoal ink. So there we go. So when you look at the other side, you see it says, you can see Go Wild, but the tree is covered, so it's not going to take up any charcoal ink. So now I'm going to take my stamp, put my little foam thing under there, and I'm going to get some ink on my stamp. I'm going to take off the piece of washi tape so I don't ink up, you know, probably some ink got on the washi tape. So this way it's all clean. Ta-da! So there you are. It's masked. The pine tree is masked out. So now I'm going to do just the opposite. Clean off the stamp. Put my charcoal away. Get rid of all the charcoal ink. Oh, Ginger's crying. I don't know if y'all can hear that. So she talks to me. She sounds like a cat when she talks to me. It's crazy, crazy dog. Okay, so now I'm going to take the same, not the same, but some more washi tape. And I'm going to cover my letters. And then I'll show you. Dogs make some strange noises, boy. Okay, so I'm going to show you what that looks like. I'm covering the go, and then the W and the LD. And I'm hoping that this is going to work out. You could also use, another good thing to use is Post-it notes. Post-it notes are real good for this purpose. So, you know, whatever kind of works for you, you may want to play with it. But this is, you know, this is a great technique. It's just a great technique, and it's called masking. So now I'm going to take my fern, and I'm going to, so see, just the tree is showing. Okay, so now I'm going to ink up the tree. Get plenty of ink on it. And then I'm taking off what was on the letters, and you can see it's just, the tree is just, there's my gray hair in the way. So I'm lining up the letters over the stamped letters, and there's my tree. Ta-da! Go wild. That's a cute little tree. So anyway, that was fun, right? I mean, it's a great technique, but that was fun to do. I haven't done that in a long, long time. So there we go. That was the hardest thing to do. And now I'm going to just put a fern background and texture paper down at the bottom that has the little lines on it, the little chevron lines. And then there's going to be a zip strip that goes on top of it. And that's going to be there we go. So this is sort of like making your own little Picture My Life cards. I mean, that's really kind of neat, right? You're making your own Picture My Life cards. So you could do this, or you could just buy Picture My Life cards, whatever you want to do. So now we've got that one covered. Now the one down at the lower left, so I cut a piece of the blue diamond paper, and I'm putting a 4x3 right there in the corner. And then there's a 4x3 space left over on the side there. And this is going to be a journaling box. And so what I'm doing is I'm taking my ruler and I'm going up, what is it? Maybe 3/8 of an inch. Is that more than a 4/8, 5/8 of an inch up from the bottom? And then every 1/4 inch I'm making another line. So I'm just running the lines, putting the ruler on top of the line and making parallel lines go up. So I have a journaling card. Very simple for making your own journaling. And if you can write in a straight line, then you don't need to make the lines. I write it a terrible slant. So, I would always look wonky if I'm writing and I don't have lines. So there you have your own little journaling card. And I'm adding a little heart to the bottom of it. And the heart is a cutout from my mousse paper. So it's just one of the many cutouts from the mousse paper. And it's just going to go down towards the bottom, kind of at an angle. No need for anything to be straight. And then I'm going to take a piece of the silver embellishing thread, and I'm going to run it through the hole there that was cut with, that little tag was cut with Cricut Design Space. And I'm just going to run it around through the hole several times. And just to make kind of a nice, you know, instead of a single loop, there's going to be like 3 loops going around, just to kind of make it look, you know, a little bit glitzier. So the, you know, once you've run that thread through one time or so, then you end up with it getting frayed, and so I kind of had to lick it to be able to pass it through again, just like you would when you're trying to thread a needle. So same kind of thing. So there's my, see, this time I made big long strings, so it was much easier for me to tie the knot. So, and then I fray my edges, because I like the frayed edges. There we go. And then I am going to stick this down with Tombow, because if I used the foam dots and I wanted to write on it, then it would be lumpy and bumpy. So this way, with the Tombow, since it's a journaling card, I'm just going straight to the card so I can give myself a hard surface to write on, and not a lumpy and bumpy surface. And so now the 4x6 card goes in there, so you have a place for your picture and a place for your journaling. So now the last piece is also another little journaling card. So one you may want to add more detail to, and this one has just 3 lines are going to go on it. And we do stamp, I think it says Our Adventure. So I'm taking that off, yeah, Our Adventure, Adventures. I'm taking that off, and I will stamp that in Fern. So that's going to go at the top of the little thought bubble, which, isn't that cute, a little thought bubble on there. That is also one of the Cricut Design cuts from the Artbooking cartridge. So just making sure I'm getting a good clean stamping from it. And there we go. So I'm gonna put down, so this is a good place to put down, say, the date and the place you went to. Probably gonna go up like ½ an inch from the bottom or something, more than the other card, and then I figure out I can't see what I'm doing. So that's why I use the, you know, the Versamat. So you can line up your piece of paper, and then you can line up your ruler to line up with the lines on the Versamat, and you know you're getting straight lines. So now I'm just going to make 2 more parallel lines on there, and we'll be set to go. And we'll have, I don't know whether I've done, I can't remember whether I've done a pocket scrapbook on a video or not. If not, it's long overdue, because this is a big thing with scrapbooking. So just, you know, anything to make your life easier. So this card is also going to, I'm going to put pop-ups on the star, which is also a cutout from my mousse paper, and that little circle is also going to get popped up. But the place where I'm writing, it's getting Tombow, so it can go flat. And I almost made a, you see, I put it down, and it's not supposed to go that way, it's supposed to go the other way. Yeah, and somehow that Tombow started really sticking heavy duty. Oh, if I didn't have to reposition something, you wouldn't know it was me. Okay, there we go. Now I got it right. So that's going on there, and then my star goes. Yeah, I was just double checking to see if I cut it the right size. 3x4. And so the star is going to go on there, and then the other little, I think it's also a star and a circle. So it's going to go on there too. So pretty simple. Not hard to do. Tuck it away. You just need to add your pictures and a little bit of journaling and you're set to go. So you put my stuff away and you can see what the 2 pages look like. So this is the last of the Deluxe workshop. So I've got the 3 layouts for that, so I hope you enjoyed seeing that. Oh, this is where I realized I was supposed to stamp in peach that wood stamp, and I'll show you what it looks like. So I'm just taking the peach and I'm taking a little corner of the sponge that has all that charcoal ink on it, and I'm going to, I didn't want to rip it off, so I'm just sponging a little bit on that arrow just to give it another little amount of color, because there isn't much other color other than the, you know, grays and greens and blues. So this just adds a nice little different color to the palette. So I'm just taking my scrap paper and going around trying to not get it on my mountain. So there we go. All better. You know, one thing you can get from me is how to make your mistakes better. There's the stamp I was supposed to use. See how it has the wood grain to it. What can I say? So you get to be taught workarounds with me. Anyway, that's always a good thing. You have to be flexible in life, and we need that, because the tougher life gets, the more flexible you need to be. So here we go. There's my 3rd layout for Into the Wild. 1 regular page and 1 pocket page, and they're ready to go. So here we are. I like this kit. I like the Deluxe workshop. I'm glad I did it. I will do the regular workshop your way so you can see what that looks like. And here's the stamp that came with this particular kit. With the Deluxe scrapbook kit, you don't get all the stuff that you get. You get different stuff than what you get with the workshops your way. So the workshops your way, you get stickers. So there I am. It's finished for the Deluxe. Thanks a lot for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.